Hey there everyone, Coach Mel here. So I'm here to bring you a tutorial for this headband. So it is a crisscross headband, a little bit different than the ones that are twisted. It lays a little bit flatter, and I did a nice simple design here that I'm going to work you through. Only a couple of stitches. There's one little part in the middle that's a little bit quirky, but we're going to work through that together so that we can make this cute headband. So let me tell you what you're going to need. I'm going to use an eye hook, which is a 5.5, and I have a tape measure, some scissors, needles. You're going to need some for not only doing the weaving in and connecting, but you're also going to need one that's smaller, and make sure that it can fit through the holes of your button. So one button. And then I'm just using the Red Heart Super Saver. This is a 4 worsted weight yarn. All right, so let's get ourselves started. Move some stuff out of the way here. We are going to start with a chain of 61. Now, I'm making this one about 20 inches, which is, I would say, a pretty average size. Probably 20 to 22 would be an average size for a women's headband. So I'm gonna start with a slip stitch or slip knot. So around the fingers, up through, hold on to that loop, and then go ahead and pull both your working yarn and your tail. Put your hook in, and we're gonna start with a chain of 61. So grab that yarn and pull through. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Go ahead and keep going on that. I'm sure you don't want to hear me count to 61. So go ahead and I will meet you when you get your chain done. All right, hopefully that went quickly for you. So I have my chain of 61 done now. And our next row is going to be all half double crochets. I did this all in half double crochet, one of my favorite stitches. And we're gonna start in the second chain from the hook. So remember, you don't count the loop on the hook. This would be your first chain. We're gonna start over here in the second chain. So let's review that half double. It's a yarn over, put that hook in through the desired stitch, pull up your loop, yarn over, pull through all 3. Let's do that again. Yarn over, go into the next stitch, pull up your loop, 3 on the hook, yarn over, come through all 3. Let's do a couple more together. Yarn over, in through the stitch, pull up your loop, yarn over, through all 3. Let's do one more. Yarn over, in through the next stitch, pull up your loop, yarn over, and pull through all 3. Now you're going to continue that all the way down your chain to your very last chain. So go ahead and pause the video, get those half doubles in each chain, and I will meet you at the end for the turn. Welcome back. So we're just finishing up row 1, and those half double crochets went all the way down to this very last chain. Now the next 3 rows are all going to be the same, so I'm just going to start you and then leave you to go. So we're going to do a chain 1, and we're going to turn, and now we're going to do a half double crochet in every single stitch again. So yarn over into that next stitch. Remember, you're getting underneath that V under the loop. Pull up your loop, yarn over, come through all 3. Yarn over into the next stitch, pull up your loop, yarn over, come through all 3. You're going to do that all the way down. When you get to the end, you're going to chain 1 and turn. You're going to come back and you're going to go down. You're going to end up with 4 rows of half double crochet. So we're just starting row 2. So you have 2, 3, and 4, and then I will meet you at the end of 4 ends when we have some fun. All right, so welcome back. Easy peasy. We got our 4 rows. We have this nice long rectangle, our 4 rows of half double crochets. So now we need to do a little bit of math work here. So we have 10 stitches that we need to come in on this side, and we need to stop with 10 stitches left on the other side. So we're gonna have 40 stitches in the middle. So let me show you how we're gonna work our way in. We're gonna use slip stitches. So no chain after this last half double. We're gonna turn, and you're gonna slip stitch in the first 10 stitches. So into that stitch, pull up your loop and pull through for 1, into the next one, 2, the next 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and here's 10. Okay. Now we need to work ourselves a chain, because what we're doing is we're leaving an opening here, but I need to start back at this end to do this row. So I want you to chain 11. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, and 11. All right, now we're gonna work ourselves back down this row. So this is our row 5 now. We've got to work our way back down, and then we're gonna come across our headband. So half double crochets starting in the second chain from the hook. So starting right here, not in this first one, but the second. Half double crochets, there's gonna be 10, work our way down. 1, oops, I split there, sorry. Let's try that again. You know, when it doesn't come through nice and smooth, something went wrong. All right, that's better. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, all half doubles, 7, 8, whoops, 9, and 10. All right. Now we've made our way back down to the body of the headband. We are going to go half double crochet right here into that stitch. And then we're going to work ourselves all the way across until we get to the other end. Now, depending on how many you started, if you needed to make this a little bit bigger, your chain may have been longer. But what you want to do is work your half double crochets all the way across until you have 10 left. Now, if you wanted to, you can go put a stitch marker. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. I want to leave open, so I could put a stitch marker there. So work your way across half double crochets until you have 10 stitches left. Stop there, and I'll meet back up with you and show you what we're going to do down at this end. Okay, so you just came across however many you needed, and there are 10 stitches left here. All right, so from here, we want to just bring ourselves down a little bit. So we're going to come underneath here, and we're going to slip down to this row down here just to pull ourselves down a little bit. And now we need to do a chain again. So a chain of 11. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. All right, and now we're going to turn, and we're just going to be working on this little area right here for a moment. So we have to do our half double crochets back down the chain just like we did on the other side. So in the second chain from the hook, you're going to put that half double crochet and work your way back down towards the center down that chain with 10 half double crochets. 6, 7, 8. I feel like I might have counted wrong. 9. Yeah, I did. This is actually 9. And here's my 10th. Okay. So now let's take a look at this for a moment, right? Because we've got it kind of hanging out way up here. If we look at it this way, we don't want it to be way up there like that. So what we're going to do is we're just going to do a slip stitch to this first stitch here, and that's just going to kind of pull it together. Okay, so now it looks very similar to what we have down on the other end, making that little, okay. But now we can't start doing our half doubles from here because we'd be a row too high. So we've got to make our way back down what we just did with slip stitches. So from right here, no chain or anything, just go right into that and slip stitch your way back down to the end in each stitch, one at a time. We're just moving ourselves back down to the end so that we could start at the end of the row with our next row of half double crochets. Okay, so there we go. So we've got the 4 rows here, and now we've got 1 complete row up here, but we need 3 more rows because we want it to be even. We need 4. So we're going to chain 1 and turn, and now we're going to half double crochet in each. Now you just put a slip stitch in there, so in order to get into that stitch, it's kind of already taken with that slip stitch. I want you to go below that slip stitch into the stitch and work your way back down with half double crochets, and we're going to half double crochet all the way across this row to the end. When you get to the end, it's a chain 1 and turn, and we're going to come back. So you have to end up with 4 rows of half double crochets, just like we did when we started. Nothing funky going on anymore here. We're just working those rows of half double crochets because we've already finished that split, and we just continue right down. This is row 2 that we're doing now, and then we'll need 2 more rows after that. All right, so go ahead and make yourself go across with those half double crochets, and I will meet you after you finish your 4th row. Remember, this is row 2 of these half doubles, or 6 on the pattern. So then we'll have 7 and 8, and I will meet you at the end of 8, and we're almost done. All right, see you soon. All right, made it down to this other end. So we have this funky looking headband, going to be a headband soon. So what we want to do is leave a tail, because we're going to use those tails to do some sewing in, but clip your ends. Move that out of the way and pull through. Okay, now what's going to happen is how this is going to get sewn together. So see if I can get, okay, good, got the whole thing in there. So you're going to crisscross opposite sides and sew the ends together, and then once those are sewed together, you're going to, I didn't do that right, crisscross, sew those ends together, and then the other ones are going to come over the top of that and get sewn together. Now I'll show you what I do here to sew this together. I try to make it as invisible as possible. Now it's not going to be perfect, and that is why the button gets put over the top of the seam. Okay, so you're going to bring the opposite ends together, and from there I try to go along the inside of the stitches to be able to kind of hide it. Oh, sorry, I'm not on the screen. Let me show you again. So I'm starting over here. I'm gonna come across, but I'm gonna go down into that end stitch and pull it together. And then as I come over here, again, I'm going down along the edge. This is sometimes referred to as a mattress stitch when you run it down along the edge like that. I'm sure there's 10 different names from it, and somebody could tell me a different name if there's something else you call it. That's what I call it. And just pulling it together, trying to make that seam as invisible as you can. One side to the other side. One side to the other side. Okay, so let's take a look at that. So you could see that it's kind of dipping on either end. So then what I'll do down here is I'll kind of come over and pull these ends together by going a little bit further down to finish that off. And now I'm just going to weave myself back up through the back, because I want to do the same thing up here on this other side. Try to flatten that out a little bit and make it a little bit more even. So you see it. It's not, you know, a terrible eyesore, but you definitely can see it a little bit. So now up here, I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to come over here and then reach myself over on this other side just to try to straighten it out a little bit and maybe even go one stitch further to straighten that edge out a little bit. All right, and then you're going to weave in your ends. Like to do a little back tack behind here just to secure that a little bit, and then weave through. Remember on your weaves to change direction. Makes it harder for it to find its way out if you do that. Okay, and I'm going to snip that. And then we're going to go ahead and take the other tail at the other end and crisscross coming this way. And I'm going to sew those together as well. So go ahead and sew those together, and then we will finish up by putting that button on. Okay, so there we have it all stitched together. Now, could you leave it like this? Yes, you could, but this is typically in the front and you could really see that seam. So I like to take a button that fits over there and attach it. So what I'm going to do is now I got my smaller needle because I need to make sure that it could pass through those buttonholes. And I do like to secure it through both layers. So make sure, you don't have to, you could just secure it to the top. But I'm going to secure it through both layers. So make sure you have the layers together where you want them. Place that button on there. And I'm coming from the back up through all the layers through my button. And leave a tail back there. And back down. And I'm just going to do that 2 times. I'm going to come up again. Make sure it doesn't get stuck. It's coming all the way through here. Where's my other tail? There we go. And back down. All right. And now on the inside, I'm going to tie this first and then weave in my ends. So I am going to knot that. And then I will take and weave in those ends. Back tack here. Through that loop. Okay. I always like to make sure my ends are nice and secure. Clip that off, and then I will go ahead and weave in that other side, which I'm sure you don't want to watch me do that. So let's take a look at it. So there we go. That is our twisted headband. It looks to be just a little bit smaller than this one. So this one might be more around the 19 inches. Let's measure across here and see. So it's coming to about 9.5 inches. So that's going to be about 19 inches. And this one here, I believe, was 10 across. Yeah. So this one's about 20 inches. So depending on what yarn you're using and how tight you go with that. You can always start with the chain and put it around your head if you know, and make sure that it is a little bit snug, because obviously we want this to stay in place. But that is it. That is our crisscross headband. It doesn't take up much yarn at all. You can use all different types of yarn for it. You may just need to change your hook size if you go with a bulkier or a thinner yarn. And if you do go with a thinner yarn, you may want to do 5 rows on each side of that crisscross. All right, that's all that I have for you today. I hope you enjoy making these. They make a great gift. They whip up pretty quickly. Once you get the hang of how this whole part works, you'll be making those, whipping them up in no time. All right, Coach Mel saying goodbye. Happy crocheting, everyone. Thank you for joining me for this tutorial, and I'll see you again soon.